All right, Tess,
like
what's your
that.
topic?
Well, instead of going into older games, I recently, actually, finally got my hands on Final Fantasy: The Boy Band Experience.
That's an old game. That came out in November. That's super
That's
old now.
super old, man.
We've had like 10 Game of the Years come out since
I didn't
then.
even know you got
Old
Final
as
Fantasy
in-
15.
Old as in, like, it's not a year old yet, as opposed to Sonic, who is, what, 20 years old now?
You leave
than
him
that.
alone. He's in the prime of his life.
Like 26,
I mean, how old is Final Fantasy?
Older than
15.
Sonic, actually.
30 years.
Yeah, they've been going a long time.
Going with that, though, is that Final Fantasy 15, as everybody is well aware, is different in the sense that it's more open world than the series really has been. Because the series has always been more turn-based oriented, which I really appreciate. I really like. It feels much more
Modern.
approachable for me, I guess. Because
Well,
I like those style
You're a
games.
big fan of the Ubisoft open world games as it is. So.
I am. Lectathonifying it. I totally don't have a
You
problem.
love your Far Cry.
I do. I actually do. I like Far Cry a lot. But I wanted to see what you guys thought about the fact that we have so many games that are going open world in that regard.
It's a travesty. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I guess you mean it's action playstyle, right? I mean, because
Yeah, to a degree.
open
but, I mean,
world just means like you can like go anywhere, which I mean,
Technically,
probably the first RPG or the first major RPG, Dragon Quest, was open world.
Oh yeah.
You can go anywhere just as long as you can fight. Enemies might be stronger.
I think he's meaning more like what we consider to be the more modern day open world.
what we say. Yeah.
When you say open world in these days, there's definitely a feel that's attached to that. People think more Skyrim, more Breath of the Wild. You know, these games where you just kind of exploration is a key
component of the main.
They probably shouldn't actually call it open world. They should call it like open section of a said world.
Yeah.
Because I mean, technically, Final Fantasy VII was literally open world. You could fly across the whole world.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So, but I mean, like the modern iteration that we apply to it now is just generally like some area that is completely open to traversing every nook, cranny, and back alley that you can find.
That feeling of exploration, even if it's just a matter of, I like that boulder. That's a nice boulder. But you know that feeling that you get that you explored and you climbed to the top of this mountain that really nobody planned for you to go up there. But you know what? You got yourself up there. You know, like I don't know.
Truth be told, like I think we've seen like a really heavy influx of open world games.
I mean, they're basically all Western RPGs.
Yeah,
if they're not like an isometric RPG, they're probably going to be like an open world one.
And it seems to be a very Western thing as opposed to the East, which kind of like their
more linear
narrow
gameplay.
Yeah, almost a little bit more railroaded, or at least applied, like at least set to track.
Meta, that implies a negative connotation. How dare you say railroad?
How dare I say railroading?
Final Fantasy X isn't just one of my favorite video games of all time.
It is my favorite Final Fantasy,
and that is one of the railroadiest of Final Fantasy games.
I think
do it way better than 13.
Let's just toss away all pretext of railroads and talk about 13, guys. How do you feel about Hallway Simulator?
No, we're not doing
that. Opposite direction, other side of the spectrum.
That's his topic. Stay on track.
Stay on topic.
Yeah, I think like we see a lot of open world games. They have kind of become more prolific in the years.
I mean, all the biggest ones are like, you know, Skyrim's huge. Probably one of the biggest RPGs in the.
Skyrim's everywhere though.
What's it called? Witcher 3 is open world too. And,
Witcher 3 showed you how to. God, everybody loves Witcher 3 and Witcher, and I've never played the game.
I never played.
So I dare not say anything against it, but apparently, as everybody and their grandmother has told me, Witcher 3 is everything done right in an open world game.
I've only played like maybe only 10-ish hours into Witcher 3, but I would say I would agree with that statement. Which, when you say like only 10-ish hours, like sounds horrible, but like I feel like I barely scratched anything in that game.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Open world games just usually
Huge.
offer a
hundreds of
ton
hours.
And I think that's why I love them. No. Just, yeah, as you were about to say, because of travel. But they make travel fun. It's not like just boring.
It depends on the game, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
Probably a personal player view as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like open world games, but I feel like sometimes that they're done as a way is because like everybody likes really open world stuff. Everybody likes to be able to kind of do this thing where they explore an area and they get to see it. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody loves freaking exploration. It's awesome. It's probably part of the reason why we play games. We want to see new crap. But I also kind of feel like it's been kind of utilized a lot in the last recent years. It's kind of died down a bit, at least as far as I can tell. I mean,
like a year or two ago, though, it was.
Yeah, they were kind of a little bit all over the place. And open world games are not easy by any means to design, to make, to flesh out properly. That's a very hard choice to make for a game.
How do you make side quests without just being the same 3 quests just repeated everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, it's WoW.
Probably it is WoW. WoW probably influenced a lot of it.
That's true.
The 8Ds, as they, I think the formula was called the 8Ds, and they're all related to a different style of questing. I don't know if that's
dungeon
changed
and dungeon and dungeon and dungeon.
Dungeon and
dungeon and dungeon.
For me, I mean, I don't know if it's quite like you'd call it a genre or what.
I think it's a genre.
For me, it's more like for me, it's like if it's done well, I like it, and if it's not, I'm not gonna want to play it. Like where like Sonic, the best Sonic game in the world, I'm not gonna want to play it. It's just not what I like to do.
Yeah.
Open world can be varying enough depending on what the other gameplay aspects of it are, to where I mean I might want to play it or I might not.
Yeah.
I think it's I get kind of what you're saying, like where it might not be its own genre, but I think it's gotten to the point where it's become such a buzz. I don't want to label it like this, but here I go. It's kind of become such a buzzword to apply to something that, in a way, it is a defining factor of your genre. Like it's the same thing that like we don't say it, but almost every genre nowadays has RPG elements in it.
Yeah, I was about to say, Meta and I were talking about this before the podcast, that like some genres that are traditionally even genres kind of are now more almost features,
I mean,
like in the case of the RPG.
Genres don't have hard borders. I mean,
Yeah.
just-
So that's kind of
they're
like
amorphous.
Yes,
But
they are.
I just mean like for me personally, like the fact that something is or isn't open world just doesn't mean a lot for me.
Yeah,
I guess.
it's a game by game. basis.
I get
Yeah,
you.
it's just a feature that has been done well and has also not been done well.
Yeah, and that,
It's something that draws me to it to look further into the game. It's not going to make or break the game necessarily, but it definitely is something that hooks me to look further into the game and see if the game is something.
It has enough of a major of effect that putting it on your game can immediately change somebody's perspective on the game and how it might react. And I think that's really what the key point is that like when you say your game is open world, okay, so you are setting this expectation now.
Yep, you're going to have minimal loading screens. Things are going to be seamless as you're traveling between areas, that kind of thing.
gathering in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of with Mao on this one though. Like open world has never really been like a defining. Otherwise, I'd have played Witcher 3 right about, and I would have played that like game like nobody's business if it really mattered to me. But like open world's never been a really big deal to me. I think if it's done right, it can be done really well. I think if it's done poorly, it is like watching
Watch Dogs.
slow motion. Yeah, it's like watching it's a train wreck in motion in slow motion. So I'm with Mal on this one. I think it really isn't so much that open genre is a thing in and of itself. It's just that it's a factor that helps set an expectation for what your game's going to be like, but it won't define if your game is good or not.
Yeah.
I am probably the least favorite of open world stuff.
You hate Zelda.
Yeah, exactly. I actually kind of like more linear style gameplay, usually because just for the fact that it's hard for me just to beat games in general as it is, and with lots of side quests, I have lots of incentive. This is why my Final Fantasy 15 file was like 100 and something hours.
You can't say you don't like side quests though. You love RPGs.
Yeah, but I don't always do every like side quest. Like in an open world game, it feels like I have more. It's not like incentive necessarily. I have like a weird compulsion.
Usually they don't force you as much on the main storyline, so you probably get more lost.
But the compulsion is, I think it comes from the thing I like most about open world gameplay is that exploration is gameplay in open world games. Just seeing the environments, trying to, like Tetsuo was saying, trying to get up on this boulder that maybe you normally wouldn't be able to get up onto, or approach things from 100 different ways. That's the most appealing thing to open world games for me. So just exploring and then naturally finding side quests along the way. When I find a side quest, I'm like, well, I have to do this side quest now. It's like my weird gaming OCD thing. It's like I have to have this completed. I have to have a little check mark beside it. And in open world games, you'll just literally stumble across side quest after side quest, and
that does seem to be.
That's what I love with them, because I love that aspect, because then it feels like there's so much content, but at the same time, sometimes you're just like, I have 30 sub quests, I have 2 main quests, I have 16 collector quests. I don't know that I care about any of these
exactly.
anymore. It kind of becomes quest manager.
It does become a well-known problem. And then generally those side quests tend to be repetitive. Like the nature of the side quest ends up being the same, and that really kills it too.
Zelda is, I think, the best open world game I've ever played. I do want to play Witcher 3 eventually. Even though I'm honestly not super big on Western RPGs, so
it's a really good game, but for me, I didn't really care for. I'm not huge into like dark and gritty things.
Yeah,
but I do love the lore of it, because it is European lore and stuff.
Yeah,
with the kind of monsters.
I've also just heard it's a very long game, so it's one I'd have to get.
Yeah,
I have 100 hours to put into this right now.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing as like
I'm like struggling to beat Tales of Berseria right now, and it's like a 40 to 50 hour game. So
yeah, I put 60 into mine because of side quests.
I can't even sit down to like finish the DLC of Neo yet, and that's gonna take me like maybe 8 hours at max. And there's a game that's gonna be 100 hours long. I don't know how I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. So
there was one time when it would be like, oh, only 200 hours in the game. I have that. And nowadays I'm like, oh, 8 hours? Okay, so that's probably a week's worth of gameplay.
Yeah,
I know, right?
I'm glad you're playing Final Fantasy 15. For one, because you're playing a Final Fantasy game, and two, you're playing Final Fantasy 15, which I think gets a lot more hate than it deserves.
I've played a few Final Fantasies.
Stick with what I said.
I've not completed a single one.
I don't think you're. I didn't think you were super harsh on it, Meta.
No, I was not. I stand by what I said. I thought that game could have been phenomenal.
It just falls apart at the end.
Yeah, and that's what makes me so upset.
It needed like
this
another
game
year.
could have been the fucking grand masterpiece for Final Fantasy. It really could have brought it. It could have, another year, and this game would have been amazing. Because, I mean, it was there. Oh my god, it was so close. Damn it, I'm so upset.
You'll never go on a road trip with your boy band friends for the first time ever.
I really, like this game, it was so close. I wanted it to succeed. I'm so upset.
Like, case in point, I've never been so invested in making sure a cat got fish to eat.
God.
This
cat needs food, damn it!
Yep.
Like,
I do have me a soft spot for fishing side.
The fishing is good in that game.
It is.
Fishing is good, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, I have a soft spot for fishing mini games in all Japanese RPGs because it's a very common thing.
It is very common, but like I have to admit, like fishing in 15 was really well done. My Lily loved playing the fishing. Like in fact, I would just like usually hand it over to her. Like when we were playing. The game, we were
that's why they're coming out with a VR game for it.
God, she'll be addicted to that.
If I had VR, I would buy that game.
I legitimately, when I first started doing the fishing, I was like, I really wish the fishing in Spirit of Sonata, the Samurai Warriors game, was this good. Like, I legitimately had that thought.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was really good, yeah. But that's kind of off the point.
So, Yeah, I think I'm the least fan of them here, but I'm also kind of like Mal. It's a very game by game basis.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like slightly biased against them in my taste generally. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably just play the neutral path again and just go like I'm with Mao. It really just does
like
depend.
open
on
world
the game.
shootery stuff. No, I have no desire to play
No
that.
love
You don't
for
want to
that.
play the Division?
No.
Nobody wants to play the Division.
God.
I don't want to play PUBG. I don't want to play any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's not quite. the
Yeah,
same.
no,
Yeah,
that's-
it's
They just-
different, but still.
It's just
I mean,
yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn is supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
I've never even looked.
I
into
only
it.
played like 5 hours of it. I'm probably never going back to it. Thank you,
Jeez.
Zelda.
That's one that's if GameFly will ever actually send me games that are at the top of my
You would
queue,
love it, Tense.
I will get Horizon. I know. Well, I mean, as I said, I do enjoy Ubisoft games for some of the reasons that I know a lot of people hate on them. I don't mind collectathons. And when you have a collectathon that's open world, I really like it because it's like, again, it's like, oh, there must be something
Beep,
at the top of
boop,
this
bop.
tower.
Beep boop.
There he
Yep.
is. It's the Robo
What
Crab.
happened?
Keep talking, Tense. I think you're good again.
Am I good again?
Yeah, you are.
I like the.
Now you're bad again.
I can't say I like anything.
Now you can. It worked again.
I don't trust it.
Oh, technical difficulties.
Honestly, generally, I prefer the immersion sim games, I guess, which are like take a lot of open world quality
Elements.
from games, but are generally in a much tighter environment
I agree with that.
because they usually show off environmental storytelling so much better.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, kind of
I
to go back
love-
to go back to Prey. Prey, in and of itself, sort of open world within the limits that it gave you. Like you at
I
any
mean,
point
there-
you could go anywhere in the.
Yeah, but you still had to like transition from screen to screen. and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, and that's why I say only kind of. But
Yeah,
I think
it's
I
an
think-
immersion sim.
I think
Yeah,
it'd be more
definitely
akin
more
to
so.
a like Bioshock in that regard. Like you could pretty much go anywhere, but you still had to load into different areas.
yeah, well, again, Prey was similar in that regard.
But, yeah. I hope you keep playing Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah,
I plan to.
it's-
In fact, when we get done recording, I'm gonna put some finishing touches on a Gunpla, and then I'm gonna go play some Final Fantasy
Do
15.
do
so.
do play 15. I think it's worth your
Yeah.
time, even if it unfortunately
And
kind of
then,
falls
then
apart
play
at the end.
Horizon, because I think that would be one of your favorite games. Probably.
I love dinosaurs and I love giant robots, so
It's a lot of
It has been at
people's
the top
favorite
of my
open
list
world
for a
game.
while.
So, and I understand why it's good. Zelda just literally, I was like, I can't go anywhere. I just played Zelda. I can't play this. So,